さてともしもし、どないですか皆さん。聞こえますか。さあ、というわけでお久しぶりでございますね。COD の世界大会がやってまいりました。よいしょ。ちょっと待ってね。ちょっと待ってね。ついさんどうもこんばんは。ちょっと待ってね。今、どうしても返さなきゃいけない返信があるから、ちょっと待ってね。さあ。どないですか。山田さん、どうもお疲れ様です。いえいえ、こちらこそお疲れ様です。さあ、というわけで、久しぶりに帰ってまいりました。COD の世界大会今年 CDL コールオブデューティーリーグでございます。どうもどうも。皆さんどうもどうも。先ほどはウォーゾーンをね、見に来ていただいてありがとうございます。暗撃工房さんどうもお疲れ様です。入れ替え戦めっちゃ熱かったですね。超激アチアチやった。ちょっと映像がくっつくときあるかな。大丈夫かな。まあ、ほな、もう、ぼちぼち見ていきましょうか。まずは第1試合は、ロサンゼルスゲルダ VS ミネスタロッカーでございます。よし、書いとこう。ちょっと待ってね。第1試合は、パガーニさんどうもお疲れ様です。キュービッツさん来たね。キュービッツさん来たね。ちょっと待ってね。送信済み。クエルブさん、どうもお疲れ様です。よし、大丈夫かな。ひとまず終了。さあ、というわけで、まず第1試合、ロサンゼルスゲルダ VS ミネソタローカル。 こちらの試合を見ていきたいと思います。それではまずね、先に両チームメンバーから紹介していきましょう。左からアキラシー、アタッチ、スタンディ、プリスター。こちらがミネスタロッカーのチームメンバーでございます。そして対するロサンゼルスゲリラは、左なっております。たまたまYouTube のおすすめ出てきたんで。さあ、というわけで、レギュラー vs ミネスタロッカー。よいしょ。
They're feeling really confident. Whoever is going to be able to win.
And it's going to be fun as we start off on Apocalypse Hardpoint for game number 1, series number 1 of the Dallas home series. And against that, really, when we talk about all of these maps, it is so important.
さあ、まずはゲーマーハードポイントをアポカリプスから見ていきたいと思います。第1試合はロサンゼルスゲート vs ミネスタロッカー。
This series is so important just to kind of get an idea of where they sit right now, right? Are LAG still kind of one of those top contenders, or rather on the Minnesota side, are they kind of fallen? Are they still one of the top dogs?
面白いね。レギュラーは2ポイント目に直行せずに第1拠点を挟み込む形。しかしシリーのダブルキル、アパティの流れるようなカバー。
It was LAG who had a much better performance versus the Ultra in this one.
Yeah, LAG, they looked a lot more consistent on this map, and it was just because Toronto, they were able to do such a great job of holding that pizza when they had an early setup. But really, they did the same exact thing. Once they were fully set up for P2, they held a full 60 twice on a map like this, so that could be really beneficial to them as this map is getting underway. They're able to pick up some time off this middle hard point. You see number 3 is Silly. He's going to be sneaking around towards the back.
第2拠点のリスポンを取ったのはロサンゼルスゲリラ。しかしここはミネスタロッカーもかなり前へと上がってきているので、第2拠点での打ち合いに勝利したチームが第2拠点を取るでしょう。
Not want to release these P2 spawns, this advantage that you can begin to possess. Current 2 versus 2 on the hill, and it's right now attached for the rocker. The last alive player toward this temple side, he gets dealt with, and so it will be a successful break for now. As it was from LAG, his apathy.
プリースト、アキラシーのキルが入って挟み込んでいるのはミネスタロッカー。バティ耐えきれないスタンディの打ち合い。
What man? 35 seconds left. It looks good for LAG. Minnesota, they break back in. Somewhat more even now coming into P3.
Yeah, that was something I wasn't expecting because we saw LAG last week just hold this down to perfection. This time you have 3 players from Minnesota push around the backside, able to win all those engagements and eventually fill out these spawns, so they're going to be able to fight back into this game and eventually take this lead. Now that sets up the Gorillas to try to get nice and early setup for that P3 hard point. You're going to see Silly sitting in towards top TV. And number 2 player in Assault pushed up all the way towards low trenches.
さあ、第3拠点。
Just have to hold this first wave of
小屋の上を制圧しているのは、レギュラーしかしこじ開けていくのはミネスタロッカー、キロシー、スタンディ、プリースター。
And Minnesota, they just did a great job at flipping those spawns.
Yeah, it's a great break. Out of the rocker again, as we talk about on this map, right? It's really just a matter of a lot of up close fights. That P2 to P3 rotation at times can be chained. I don't want to say easily, but a lot more effectively than many other maps. As Rocker are putting on display right now. They also do flip, rather continue to hold on to those spawns for a moment. It was LAG who had those back spawns for No Man's Land, but really it's just been a solid position out of Minnesota for the moment. With 18 seconds left, the focus now begins to come in toward Turtle, and at least off the start, it is Minnesota here. Adam Assault looks to put in the damage from the front side. Right now from LAG, they're being held up, trying to make the plays from the side. Nice coordinated push as accuracy falls, and will set up LAG.
So
kills are just going back and forth between both teams right there. Eventually, Gorillas were able to neutralize that and get the spawns that they wanted. So the back of that P5, so they're going to be able to start off with this initial time. That's all about just trying to stay alive towards his back, but here comes a streak out of Sandy. He was able to pick up that artillery with the streak he was able to go on when he was in that TV room. The 2 players are not going to drop. They know that 1 player is unfortunately going to be in towards this ticket booth. He's eventually going to drop. Now you see Minnesota, they do have the spawn. It's all about just trying to eliminate this last player, and just like that, they're able to break in, and now you're forcing all of LAG to try to rotate through the middle of the map, but Priesta is causing problems, able to take down 2 before he gets taken down.
I mean, what? Minnesota, they get close to the 100-second mark. P2, P3, P4, can they make it? A P5 hold as well. LAG look to make their way in toward lights. So we'll go ahead and step aside and listen in with our Astro listening on the Minnesota Rocker.
うわ うわアパティうまい投げ物。いやカバーうま。今のカバーうますぎん。アパティとシノは。アパ難しいよな。粘るね、ロッカー。しっかりと6番、8番アタッチプリースタで、ここはマップの奥で耐えて味方を寄せる動き。お、囲んでる。うまいな。こういうのがうまいよな。うまい。うわーうまいな。うまいな。うわーかぶ抜け。全然ちゃうなマジで。CDL バカおもろいな。おもろいなマジで。なんかもうあんだけ固まって待ったりさ、そんなのが見て楽しいんだよな、本当に戦略的で。うわー読んでるアタッチ。うまいな。うわアパティ投げもうまっ。今のやばないアパティ。攻めてほんまにうまいな。ガチで一級品やわ。強すぎるよな、ああいう投げ物の使い方。本当にうまいと思うわ。リーサは一生強えよ。リーちゃんは一生強え。
Well, it's a neck-and-neck hard point through our first set of rotations, and now coming in toward the next side of P2. I gotta say, Study, I feel like the comms were good despite LAG having a few good sequences there as Minnesota now looked to break on the Yeah, I love the comms out of Minnesota right there. It was all just methodical. Everything was coordinated. Everyone was communicating on what they needed to do. You heard accuracy step up. He said, hey, bait for me right here. Slide on through now. And then you heard Stanley. He was really stepping up in those comms for me. He was telling everybody, make sure you hit your routes. Make sure we're taking our time, staying alive in the back. It was just perfect teamwork for Rocker. And right now you see them nice and early set up in towards this P2. Even though they do not have the back spawns, they're just doing the best case scenario.
恐ろしい決め打ち。しかし LG のカバー。
only being down 35, 37 seconds. LG taking down 3. This is a good 25 seconds to get back into this game. Good and necessary. Hold out of the boys from Gorillas. But now kind of on topic with the Rocker, right? The big conversation coming into the series is that, hey, you know, can their hard points be good? Can they be solid again like they were when they kind of originally added Stanley to the team? And, you know, despite what has been kind of a slower record for them as of late, you know, it hasn't been one player underperforming stud. Like, we looked at their hard point X factors coming into this series, and it's kind of basically identical across the board. Like, everybody's around a 1.1 in their wins, everybody's around a 0.8 in their losses. So, I guess that kind of is a benefit for the Rocker, right? They're not relying on one player a majority of the time, but it really is a team effort from the boys of Minnesota. Yeah, it definitely is a team effort with everything that they do. Because like you said, every time they're losing, they're sitting at a 0.8. So it's just not good for the entire team. When they're winning, everybody's over a 1.0. So they just need to be on point. And right now, with this lead, with the setup that they have for this P3, attach picking up kills left and right from both trenches, they're able to open up the sleeve. And now start to focus on that rotation. The two players are going to spawn out towards that back tempo if you're LAG. So that number 2 in assault, he's going to have his hands full here.
そのメインヤードの矢印ばっか見てないから、ちゃんとメインヤード研究してないからあんまりこれっていうのはないんだけど。まあどうだろうな。でもアーシティはずっとうまい気がする。
And for the Rockers' favor, now it's all about can they try to break through because the Gorillas only being down 40 points. They can definitely hold this from the front with 2 players spawning out towards Temple.
As we said on Apocalypse, things can get quite crazy as you're going to see spawns pretty much across the map. What in that moment, despite having kind of no man's land control, it is Sandy who spawns out back toward P2. So this could be a positive flank in the end as players from every which angle are winning the fights. But despite what looked like a good moment, there from the Rocker is 4 down in favor of LAG. Not only are they getting time here at P4, but they are set up quite nice for P5 as well. But just as we say that, they begin to force all of their players toward that outer rim, toward lights. And begin to evaluate what the most important hard point is right now. Back and forth we go, a point game as Silly wins a big 1v1 fight on the point. try and grab these last 10
しっ
seconds
かり
of
次の
scrap.
ポイントのディスポー
They're
ンを
going
狙
to
い
need
に行っ
it
た
as
の
now
は
we get ready to
ミネ
focus
ソタロッ
for
カ
P5.
ー。スタンディ前のポイントも突進24キル15です。圧倒的な活躍を見せています。
Yeah, so now we basically have a tie game, and Minnesota, they just did a great job off that rotation to flip these spawns. It was getting a little scary because the Gorillas were able to hold it from the front side, but now they're able to just put themselves in position to try to close this game out. You can see Sandy hit the pitch, unfortunately, only able to take down one, but they are still keeping these back spawns. They can win it off of this hard, it's all about just trying to line up these kills, trying to hold at least 1 to 2 more waves, and accuracy taking down 2. His teammates trying to fly in. Sandy's going to be able to take down the third. This is going to slow down the push. That's going to be all 4 dead once again for LAG. They can still lose off this hard point, so they're just all going to try to commit towards this and try to playfully contest.
流れ込めない。スタンディ28の16です。
On Apocalypse, it feels
as
as
if
if
normally
normally P5 is where things can start to
強
get solidified as Standy.
LAG 1点に近えることができません。最後の最後でしっかりと固めきったのはミネスタロッカー。まずはゲーマーハードポイントアポカリプスを勝利しています。サーチ見てみよう。モスカどんな感じなの？
They want to try and like make you kind of fall into their trap, more of a slow-paced team, and we very well are going to be kind of administered to that in these search and destroys. You know, commonly for for the LAG sides that like we always talk about, like if we ever see them on Miami search and destroy, that the first 30 seconds, 45 seconds of a round are just like, okay, you know, it's probably going to be a little bit slower than anything, but getting right into this Moscow harp, or rather Moscow search and destroy, excuse me, looks like a hard point based off the way that it started off. As Apathy quickly finds himself on the flank, so we've got ourselves into a 2 versus 2. Salt and Apathy versus Attach and Standing.
Man, this round has been an absolute bloodbath on both sides. There was just 3 players on both sides committing toward that ace. Sandy eventually hit the repitch onto those players and take down both, but I love that play right there in Minnesota, right off rip. We talked about it earlier on our keys. The victory was just the teamwork in search and destroy. The last 8, they've only been able to win 2. So it's just been relied on a lot of individual play, but they sent 4 players over towards that A site, execute the team push perfectly, and win the first round.
And I know we talked about it, it was in our keys to victory in terms of like stats and stuff, but like when you're talking about you played 3 series, you're kind of now hopping into your 4th year versus top caliber team in LAG. I mean, what, the stats? Accuracy 0.75, standing at a 0.52 so far throughout stage 3. That's never going to be able to get the job done.
Yeah, it's definitely not, but, you know, as they get more reps in, their main focus when this team was first formed was that hard point. So they got that underneath their belt. Obviously, it's been lacking in a little bit recently, but they got over that honeymoon stage, so now it's all about just focus on perfecting your gameplay. And Standy, he's still being that individual playmaker. Now left in a 1v3 is going to be silly. But so far, Minnesota, that's another 3-man push to that A site. They were able to take control of it, so win a majority of those gunfights and know exactly where Silly is in this situation. He's just trying to make a miracle happen, but eventually they're just stalling time for the picks to come in, and that's just another great round out of Minnesota right there to go up 2-0.
ゲームカウント2対0、素早くラウンドを取っていったのはミネスロッカー。
slower, more methodical team. I mean, they've just been right by the rocker. Like in these last few rounds, they have been trying to just overall be aggressive. I feel like, you know, we're almost like on a highway, and Minnesota's like, you know, that fast, you know, sports car, and they just got kind of the family just, you know, up ahead. They're just kind of honking like, can we get it going, please? Like, can we try to speed this one up? And LAG maybe somewhat out of their sorts to start off. As again, at least being able to retrieve some information out of those first 2 rounds, they can get somewhat of a better outlook. As it will be the 1-3 split. Granted that one player being a salt is hanging out toward mid. He'll make the rotation back toward B. And tosses of utility out toward A. The
2番のアサルトがどれだけ相手の情報を盗めるかっていうところではありますが、アサルト先にここは発見されてしまって爆弾設置。いいですね。しっかりと向こう側に設置しますね。ここはバスの下というか、このちょっと5番の選手の位置ですね。左下のミニマップ5番の選手の位置から確認できるので、爆弾が。バキラシ飛んでない？あ、飛んでなかったわ。不正で見てるだけだった。うわー、エッジだ。スタンディ、エッジだ、2v3。ミネスロッカー爆弾を設置しているが、2v3。シリー、ここはアタッチを打ち抜いた。1v3、スタンディ、シリー、ダブルキル。うまい。 しっかり詰めて取り返す時の詰めるっていう判断とこのスピード感が半端ないよな、マジで。うますぎた。ハヤさんこんばんは、どうも。ちょっとね、めっちゃ伸びてきたから今横に分けてるんだけど、まだもう綺麗にいかないけどね、そろそろ。CD 見て気分バカげでリーグプレイけど、結局マッチングしなくて公開マッチ楽しくなくて公開する。うまいこと言うな。公開マッチで公開ってか
See, so now you win that round if you're LAG. Now you're going into another offensive push. And the way that we like to see LAG play is slow and steady, work a rotation kind of late. But Minnesota, they're stacking one bomb site, and then eventually they take control of that, and then allowing their teammates to wrap back towards the other. So once again, this is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to make sure they send 3 players towards A. Number 5 in accuracy is going to make sure he throws his flashbang towards middle. Make sure no players are trying to rush towards middle map. He's just going to watch the street cross. But this is the LAG that we were expecting to see. Now, what can they do from here? Because it's looking like Minnesota, they're trying to get real aggressive through the same side. Chino's here to slow them down.
I quickly looked back at the stats.
LAG
defenses, they happen to be the 3rd best team in defense and search and destroy. They have the number 2 KD, so they know what they're doing on the defense. But we'll see what they can do now. They made their way up toward
いや、なんて言ったんやけどな、前それ聞かれて言ったメンバーは気がすんねんけどな。やったかな。いや、甘いな、アバティ。しっかり本当に敵がいそうなとこずっとエイムしてるよね。キャラコンでこう戦うっていうよりかは、やっぱしっかりとこうエイムしてっていう感じのゲームになってきたよね。日本だったら稲葉さん4人やで。うわ、強い。うわー、今のスタディうまい。あ、バティー。突き刺すようなカバー。スタンディー 1v3 シチュエーション。うわー、ババうめえ。アパティバカうまいやん、マジで。
Priestess turns that corner just about 2 seconds before Silly's able to spot Standing in the middle of the map. He's going to set up Standing to eventually hit the pinch, and it could have just got crazy, but they were able to eliminate this side of this room, take control of the site,
キャラコンじゃない打ち合い。
turn it into a 3v1.
キャラコンじゃない打ち合いの作品とかはね、アパティマジで強いんだよな。ワラツーとかアパティマジでうまいで。ほんまに。
So that's going to put him at 5-3, trying to work towards some streaks in LAG. They're battling back into this game. We were talking about it, accuracy really stepping up in that search and destroy game mode, currently sitting at 0-4. It's kind of hard when you're the island player, but definitely don't want to be sitting at a donut, so hopefully he kicks up for his team here soon.
A slower start. Moscow has treated the rocker quite well, at least when we talk about the last major. Sorry,
稲葉さん、フレックスの稲葉さんと AR のメイン AR の稲葉さんと SMG の稲葉さん。おー、前勝ちの。
Accuracy, the last player alive, but Chain is hungry. I don't know if he ended up getting it. We'll have to see maybe toward the ending.
Chain の3ピース。やっぱ強いんだよな、あそこ。やっぱ強いんだよな、この位置。カットシェイク。大物ぐらいチのキャットシェイク。
Great positioning right there out of Chain. They had no idea that he was towards the outskirts. That's going to give him a 5 spree after he's on a 4 spree. LAG turning into that S&D team that we were expecting to see. Now let's see what they're able to do on their offensive push. This time Minnesota, they're going to switch it up. They're going to send 2 players towards middle. And that number 6 player in attach, he's going to be a little bit more aggressive this time.
3-2返してね。ミネストロッカー 2-0 とかやったけど、LA ゲレダ3-2だったよね、気づいたら。しっかり逆転してるね。
Chain 2 off streaks, Apathy 3 off streaks. Slow and steady offense is exactly the way to go.
I just gotta stop saying that Minnesota is talented at Moscow. Every time that it happens, I just feel like something negative occurs. I feel like I have it last series we casted over them, and right as I begin to reference that it's kind of a good moment for Minnesota, Chain just lights it up.
うわ、うまいな、タッチこれ。し
Quick ace, the oppressive
っかりその上と下で組んでるよね、クロスを。
line up.
うわー、これはうまいわ、ロッカー。アキラシーが上の方の AR の車線見て、アタッチが下から通ってくる SMG の抜きを見てね、ちゃんと。うわー、スタンディーカバー。
That in mind, current 4 versus 2, favoring the rocker.
Oh my god! アサルトチノ、ツーベツ。アグレシー、返す。チノ、ワンベツ。おーっぶねー。
It also would give him a much better chance. Locking up the 1 versus 2, but he gets tagged up. Accuracy a much needed kill for him. And Rocker, they reply with their
バカ GG マジで。今ワンチャン ALG もワンチャンってやばいやろ、今の。
Attach taking control of middle map. He's able to get that first ball to Mr. Father App.
入山
Once
さんっ
he's
て
able
なん
to
で
do
あんなや
that,
ってるん
just
です
stalling
か
enough
知ら
time.
ん。
He forces
多分
Chino
宇
to
宙
try
人
to
だと思う。
overextend through middle of the map. Sets up Sandy to set up the crossfire from that Eskies. So now we're all tied at 3-3. Accuracy gets on the board there. It's going to give him 2 kills on the round. So far, if you're Minnesota, I'm going to exactly what worked the first time. The only thing is, now I'm making sure that Chino is not going to be towards outskirts.
Right.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to send 4 players over towards the safe site.
どっ
Chino,
か
once again, is in that
とついき
position,
ますね。
but they're being a little bit more
シリ
aggressive.
この初戦、あ、タッチを仕留めるがどうだ。スタンディは食べることができない。プリスタが2枚カバーに入っている。爆弾設置、しかしこれは手前側だ。アパティ、足が見える。ラッキー。美味しくいただいたのアパティ、2v2 シチュエーション、そしてこの角待ちのスタンディも追い詰める。投げ物がうますぎるアパティ。あー、ダメージが入っている。うおー。
Kind of an odd sequence there. Stuff like we said, Minnesota, they took over, but Priest plants for the other side, and really from there, they just get decimated. They get destroyed.
Yeah, I can't believe that they put themselves in a 3v2 situation, and then they plant the bomb for the opposing
アパティに
player's
乾杯。
spawn.
Guess they just didn't
So
think the rotation was
みんなア
coming
パティ
in
に
that
乾杯。
fast.
Yeah, that quick. LAG,
おめ
they
でと
just
う。
rotated into the
人間
building
卒業
really
です。
quickly,
無事。
and Minnesota, they just didn't take
アパ
advantage
テ
of
ィ
it. They
う
get
ますぎマジ
Apathy
で
able to get a
ほ
2 piece
んまに
on
あ
the
の
round. Eventually
投げ
turns it
物
into
投げる
a
判断とかも
3v1,
完
and
璧や
then
し
they
なもう
close that out. LG
もう
just found
全
the
てに
opening
おいて
with
火の打
perfect
ちどころ
timing
が
to
ない
just
選
push
手が
off
ア
the
パティやマジ
rotation,
で
get the player off bomb.
こういう
Eventually
なんか
they
キャラ
find
コ
the
ン
other
勝負じゃない
players, and now
作
they
品は
find themselves
特
up
に強いね
4-3.
アパティは
And look
マ
at
ジ
what they're
で
doing on their offensive
で
push. They're
IW
being
とかのブー
aggressive
スター作
towards
品も
mid
強い
map.
し
Who
も
would have
う
thought we
完
would have
璧
seen this out of LAG today? They're gonna look like they're gonna try to jump into this B bomb site. But with that stun coming into that
完璧やね
window,
アパティ
it
は
should give the information to the Rock
バラ
that
ンス
they're
型の
gonna
頂点
commit
みたいな
towards the
攻め
B
地
site now.
Apathy leading the way. This guy's frying. Really throughout his entire career, we talked about it. When Apathy is frying, his teams so much momentum on their side.
またスタンディぐらい取るわあーこれは取り逃がしてしまったファーストブラッドはシリーが取っていますここは 3v3 ですかねいや LA ゲルで残って4枚3 4対3の状況スタンディここは裏を取りたいんですがプリスターバステイ上チーノよく見ていたアキラシーも返すが 2v3 人数入りエレゲルダプリスター 1v3 仕留めきったエレゲルダマッチポイント5対3
LAG round, as you said, Sud playing more aggressive. We're able to lock things in, and really, Gene, just with this angle, gets involved in our last 2 fights.
And this is the thing about Minnesota Rockers S&D that's really been struggling recently. It's like you see Standing in that position. He went for the super late flank and tries to commit and make a play for his teammates, even though his teammate did get first blooded, so he has to try to make a play there. But I would like to see more Rat Back try to retake that a little bit more together instead of relying on individual plays. Chino's going to spot that out all the time. He's currently sitting at 9-4. He's a player that always eats island players alive. Always that player that's going to catch the player off the flank. And he catches Standy right there. So I found themselves up 5-3, 1 round away from closing this out. In Minnesota, they're going to switch it up this time. They're going to commit towards this B-bomb site. The only thing is Salt.
うわやばすぎやろ今のメインエアの攻防見たどっちも削られてどっちも変えるってなんかもう武士の争いみたいになってるやんバカかっこいいってこういうのが面白いんだよななんかうわうまいなうわキル取って逃げるこれで 4-3 やから人数なんですよねうわスタンディングして待っとるうわーしっかり耐えるチのカバーうわースタンディも逃げるかーレベル高すぎるマジでいやほんまにレベル高すぎるわこれ
But it does work out another offensive victory here, Stud.
Yep. So now they find themselves at down 5-4. Minnesota's going to be on defense. And so far, LAG, they have committed to that B site multiple rounds now. They like to work slowly up the middle of the map, slowly push up street. So let's see what adjustments Rocker can try to do here. I really like when Attach went towards that middle P1 area. He was helping accuracy off the crossfire. But 5-4, round number 10. LAG are going to be on offense. It's looking like, once again, they're going to go 4 players over towards that B site. Minnesota doing that same exact setup as they had in the very first round. 3 towards A. accuracy towards the middle of the map. But they're being so aggressive towards his B bomb. Accuracy now, he's going to have to wrap back. The information does come into his teammates. But LIG, they should be able to get in towards his B bomb uncontested and work this bomb.
結構 B 主体でいってるね、どっちも。
Out of the 3 lanes we have on Moscow, they just allow for Boulevard to be wide open. That will give LIG the opportunity.
囲んでるよ。うわー、美味しい。美味しい、4対3。これ解除いくね。あー、でも1枚取れてる。朝だと取ってる。プリスタ返す。うわー、スタンディ1。スタンディも返す。チノ。スタンディ。もう別。うわー、スタンディだ。最後はスタンディだ。うまいね、今のは。お互い死なないカバー合戦制したのはミネストロッカーラウンド11。
They were up 5-3. Take control of Street, who is on offense in this 5-5 situation. Round 11, ladies and gentlemen. And Minnesota, it's looking like they're going to go for that very first round. What worked was being aggressive towards that A site.
Oh, no!
But unfortunately, a teammate is going to come in for standing, and this is the Minnesota Rock and
Oh,
this is
no!
The second time that this has happened to them.
Oh, トレード成立 3v3.
Nice and quick with that blood.
味方のミスを超消しにしました、プリスタ。
You've got to be kidding me. The teammate, and then LAG try to back up. They're like, cool, we got the first blood. We don't have to do anything for it. Catch Apathy.
Oh,
Priesta lands
oh no, Priesta.
As now it's a 3 versus 2. Cheat and assault.
人数有利ミネストロッカー、プリスタのビッグプレイス壊れているのはミネストロッカー。しかしここは引いてなかった。チノがアキラシ落として 2v2。うわー、チノ読んでる。いやー、しかしここはタイミングが合わず。チノ、ショルダリング。ナイガブロの突入。ショルダリング。ショルダリング、ショルダリング。うまい。うわ、スタンディ。うわー、1v1。うまい。いやー、チノもよく粘った。いやー、今のはチノうまかった、マジで。1v1 しっかりとクラッチアップ。
They get it done in the round 11, and how about the plays?
素晴らしいエイム。ゲーム2サーチ&デストロイは LAG。
Nade, Semtex through the win.
Come from raid. They're 5-2 on raid. They are like 1-9, I think, combined on the other 2 control maps. So this has been a good win for them historically. And like I said, when it comes down to this series, this is kind of the perfect map 3 that you could ask for in regards to both these teams. It's like, hey, you know, let's say that we start off slow in the series. At least we have that raid control. Both Minnesota and LAG looking forward to this one. They've had their stomping grounds on this many times before, and we'll see who can come out victorious with that 2-1 advantage, as the Rocker will begin things off here on the offense.
まあギャリソンとチェックメイトを嫌ってるんだと思う、どっちも。いやー、すごいな。もうエイム自信ない。うわ、チノエグ。うわ、エグチノマジで。アキラシーのさっきの位置取りやばない、マジで。なんかもうエイム自信に行きしか取れへん位置取りしたけど。
But LAG, they just did such a great job at holding that B point versus the Dallas Empire. So they're not really worried about giving this up. It's all about just trying to keep these lives somewhat close. See number 7 in Standy already.
Nah,
the pinch, but Apathy, he's able to spot him and take him down. So the 8 point eventually is going to be captured by Minnesota. Right now, you see what number 2 player in Assault is doing. He's pushed it all the way left side border.
マジでこれまたセンターで伏せてんすよね。プリースターワールドで成功。B 拠点を挟み込んでいるのはミネストロッカー。しかし金庫で耐える。アパティの捨てている位置に気づいたのはスタンディ。アサルトダブルキル。なんとか守りきったのはエレーゲルだ。アキラシいいこの位置。しかしアパティのカバー。いいスター、ここは体を出すことができません。
Whenever he is going off, Apathy can look like one of the best players in the entire world, CDL included in that conversation. If he can be that spark, that could be the reason why we see LAG walk away with another respawn. Or rather, sorry, with their first
う
respawn.
わアキラシ泳いでるくせにめっちゃ溜まってくるやん。
Even when I teamed with them, when we were just a crazy duo, because when I was going off,
こ
I
んなんで e
always
スポーツ
knew
したく
that
ない
he
わ
was
俺。
going off. And
マ
that's
ジ
the
できつい
thing,
絶
that's
対。
so scary, is that the guy is a two-time world champion for a reason. You know, when his back's against the wall is when he's able to perform his best.
うまい。チリうまい。
And right
いや
now,
ー、
you
ロ
know,
ッカーも
it's
め
getting。closer towards the end
ア
of
バ
the
ティ逃
year.
げ切れ
We
ない。
don't know how champs Apathy,
チケット差は14対16、ミネストロッカーが2枚リード。
mix them both there, but
さらにミネストロッカーはリスポーンキルを狙いに行きますが、ここは LA ギルダ第4拠点を守るかというようなこのフォーメーション。うわー、殴り合いはプリースター、プリースター、アキラシー。残ったのはロッカー、オールダウン。これは取りますね。これはロッカー取るでしょう。うわー、シリうまい。あー、これ1人しか乗ってんのか、B。うわー、これ B ゲージ作しないのか。うわー、うまい。ゲリラ、プリースターダブルキル。オーマイ。ミネストロッカー、チケット差11対7と4枚差。プリースターのゴッドクラッチ。うわ、
yeah, but Minnesota, they know that they have the lab advantage now. No more respawns coming in for LAG. There's only going to be 2 players left off spawn. Sandy, he's still cutting those players off. So here comes a little stack coming in from Minnesota. All they need to do is just eliminate 2 players and all done out of Minnesota to be able to close out this round. That play does not happen if Priestess doesn't get that 3-piece. If Priestess doesn't get that 3-piece, LAG, they were able to fight back into that. And at least neutralize the point for some time. But Priestess, being the only player remaining there, was able to take down 3, which just sets up his teammates once again to push through Kitchen, to set up off the spawn kills. Just like that, they're able to walk away with their first round.
I know we've been talking about Minnesota lately, but it's important to kind of highlight, you know, what has been, at least with the addition of Sandy, like just an overall great move from the team. Like, I know the recent kind of, you know, performances maybe have kind of diluted that conversation more, but like I said, man, to start off the year, Priesta like has like a 0.7 KD or something crazy. He has like the lowest overall KD, and it was just a matter of like, this is not Priesta's performance. And then now, once you see him on the flex, he can just light it up from time to time, and clearly feeling much more comfortable with that Krig in his hands. As many probably agree with him on that. But a nice start for Priesta. This round 2 defense, but Priesta again, right in the feed.
LAG はリスポーン地点にお帰りください。リスキルの体勢に入ったのはミネストロッカー。うわー、ダブルキル。アタッチ、アタッチ、アキラシー、シリーも返すが、ここはスタンディのカバー。うわ、1枚持ってくのやば。あえるに1枚持ってくのやばいでしょ、アキラシー。うわやばやばやばいやー、プリースの戻り。いやー、ここに溜まっているレジ。シリーしっかりとコメントして溜まっている。しかし、チケット差は24対15と、9枚差今10枚差ついてますかね。10枚差のチケットリード。ミネストロッカーの防衛。スタンディ。
Trades are going back and forth, but Sheen is able to take down both. He has to get on this 8 point to eventually stop this time. You're going to see what Minnesota's trying to do. They're trying to fight the map control. Agassi is trying to make sure that this round can still go in their favor by taking these players off base.
砲撃ちょっと贅沢に使いましたね。
25 seconds remaining on this clock. They need to try to capture this 8 point, and they're going to be able to do so. Time is going to extend by a minute, but the only thing is they're down 9 lives. And they're trying to fight for map control. As you see, number 5 and accuracy pushed them all the way in their base.
Yeah, like so with accuracy up in that position, it's just never going to make life easier.
いやー、これチケット差きついな。
The onslaught now toward the kitchen from the Gorillas will get halted for the moment. You see Apathy, he's trying to make the play, looking to try and shut down accuracy. Is able to do so, so that will free up at least one portion of the map. No shots coming in from behind.
うまい。
Dilly continuing to do damage up close. That's 4.
ワンチャンあるんこれエレだ。やばくね。うわー、スタンディエッジ。 うわキッチンで粘ってるし、アサルト次第やなこれ。アサルトどれだけ粘れるかな。アサルト勝った、やばい。うわアサルト粘った。これきついんだよね。スタンディが体を出すと金庫からカバー入るから。いやー裏取りうまい。6番アタッチと神の裏取り。いやー金庫倒したのでかいぞこれ。29秒。うわータッチ。せき止めているのはアタッチ。エレギュラーの侵入を拒む。前衛の守護神アタッチ。今のはアタッチうますぎたなマジで。今のはアタッチうますぎた。お見事。この試合はアタッチの方が良かったな。
Sorry, Chapathy. What, a 1v8? It's never going to be easy, but like we said, man, just the way this round started off, just so clinical out of the rocker. And that's kind of been, the major conversation for LAG is that, like, whenever their strategies are working, they can be such a solid team. But whenever you have a roster on the other side, right, when the opposition is just going off, they have playmakers who can just put up numbers. They just struggle, and you see it exactly right there. I know it got a little bit close toward the end, but I think for the most part, it was Minnesota in control. About 95% of that round. Now we'll get to see what they can do on their next
さっきアタッチ上がってんのは普通にそのキルした2キル分のリスキルだと思う。前で結構倒してて、で味方もどうせ後ろで湧いてくるから、後ろも悪いぐらいだったら一回前を押しちゃった方がいいからね。取れてない方取れたし。さああっという間にスタンディダブルキルですね。LAG、AB 両方振られていますね。スタンディさらにキル、アタッチもキルが入る。均衡を取りに行くのはミネスタロッカー。アパティの位置、アタッチここはダメージを入れる。アパティすかさずセムテックスを放り投げる。アパティ耐える耐える。見てよあの耐え。見てよあの耐え。アパティ、うわほらほらほらほら。ほらアパティ見て見て。ほらアパティ見て見てもう。もう e スポやるんやったらこれぐらいせなあかんでほんまに。あんなとこで英語チャレンジして打ち合ったらもうしばきもんやからな。アパティの粘り見てよ。チケット数不利よ。ミネストロッカー4枚有利。エレギュラー死にたくない。どれだけねチケット数不利でもやっぱキルを取りたくなるじゃん。いやーアパティ粘りのダブルキル。粘って粘って粘って最終的に運が傾いたのはアパティ。しかしスタンディ個人技バケモン。どんだけさチケット数増えてもさ絶対よく出るやん。セーブしようセーブしようっつってもなんかあーごめんやられちゃったみたいな。そういう甘えを一切許さないんだよね。どれだけその自分の欲を押し込められるかで勝てそうな時にどれだけ詰めれるかっていうその難しいよね。その英語チャレンジしなきゃいけない時としなくていい時のその使い分けっていうのが本当にうまいよね。行かなきゃいけない時と行かなくていい時のこの分かれ目が本当に難しいから、e スポは。そういうとこがうまいんだよね。ほら見ても粘って LA ゲルダチケット16対16よ。うわうまい。後続が来るっていうことを知ってて今あえて後ろを落としたな。後続を奪ったサルトのビッグプレイ。スタンディここはスコアスリーが落とす。どうしてもこの攻めで取り切りたい。ああ当たった。流れ込むロッカー2枚で入り込むのミネストロッカー。スタンディおーいやーロッカー。うわスタンディうまマジでうまスタンディやって。まさかの 3-0 ミネソタロッカー攻め防衛攻め取っての 3-0 ストレート勝ち。いやスタンディマジでうまいわ。うまいわ。マップカウントは2対1ミネストロッカーリードでの マップをハードポイント。チェックポイント。
When they are able to get that final 20 seconds of that P4, they get the spawns for P5, but then that one push from the opposite team is able to break their setup eventually, and then it's going to spawn them all the way out. So hopefully we get to see the adjustments out of Minnesota this time around to making sure that they're playing their lives a little better for those 60 money hills on this map like Checkmate.
Yeah, and I know like when you talk about that P4 to P5, I know that was kind of the issue in their series versus Paris, right? To kind of break it off, right? It was the 250 to 169 loss, and really, like you said, it was kind of the P4 to P5 issues that they began to suffer. Again, maybe not the greatest moment recently for Minnesota, but again, it's a much different team on the other side for LAG.
パパティ、あれは SMG なんですが、パパは SMG なんですが、うわー、これシリーとアサルトのクロス見て、見て、シリーを倒そうもんならアサルトが飛び出てくる仕掛け、しかしここはスタンディが2枚で破壊していった。たまにこういうイレギュラーが発生すんのよね。形完璧に組んでんのになんか破壊してくるこういう化け物がおるから。たまったもんじゃないね。たまったもんじゃねえ。スタンディやめろ。壊すな。試合を。
Well, the good thing is that LAG were able to get 3 kills right there, so that's going to force all the players from Minnesota to continue to spawn out towards wood. Now, the time is still going in favor of Rocker.
第1区点はミネストロッカー完全制圧30対0と第1区点でリードを広げています。そして第2区点のリスポーンもこれは飛んでますね。2番の選手がリスポーンが反転、スタンディ、さらに前押しシリーカバーに入るがプリースターオブイラダボー。ナイスキル。アサルトも粘るね。これ拠点取ってんだよね、レジ。うわー、また来た。スタンディおるぞ。うわー、スタンディだ。またスタンディだ。なんとか追いつきましたね、エレゲルダも。逃げんじゃねえよと。バッシュコ貸してんじゃねえよ。スタンディを締め切った。いい投げ物。
Thankfully for LAG, they're getting some much needed seconds because we talked about it, man. Like you lose a control like that. I mean, you're kind of not really having a ton of momentum coming into this hard point. And then you were to go down, what? It could have been like 60 to 70 to like 3. Like it could have been like 75 points to 0. Like who really knows? A much needed hill there out of the boys from Gorillas.
Yep. Now they're able to stay in this game now. So you're going to see Minnesota with the early rotation towards that P3. Should be able to start off with initial time, but Assault, he's taking control of that street, so they should be able to try to flip this if they want to. Steady, he's still trying to stay alive, trying to be a menace on the map.
どっちも競ってるね。やっぱハーパ結構 GG してるね。アポカリプスもそうやったけど、ハーパ結構 GG してる。いやー、チノアバティ、チノいいね。うわー、シリアも来る。オールダウン。次のポイントで打ち合い。いやー、投げ物がうまい。いいね、3取りつつ4も取ってる。LAG かなりいい形。うわー、チノこの1点張り。うわー、おるぞ。当たっておるぞ。飛び出してくる。スタンディがダメージ入れたよと報告を入れれば、アタッチが飛び出してくる。アポティ。これは何かに気づいている。アゲルシを仕留める。うまい。あー、挟み込んだ。挟み込んだ。この距離感。シリーダブルキル。LAG 取り返しました。いや、今のもうまいな。ボレボレする取り返し。うわー、カバーうまい。うわ、うますぎるわ、マジで。
Get one right. We're missing one. It's Eli, right? It's Eli. I don't see him. I don't see him. I'm wrapping right. Go ahead. You're nothing holding me. That's not playing. What's holding me now? That's 3-0. Playing Dylan. He's flying out B-wing. Dylan. He's gonna be on me. Yeah, he's in front of you. Got him. Nice job. Stay left, right. I'll flash him. I'll flash him back steps or something. I'm 1-1. Hit him on it early. Hit him on it early. I got you. Come in. I have no trophy, guys. Gotta get back steps.
並んだね。87対88。1点差での第5拠点。リスポーンはエレゲルだ。うまい。うわー、見てもプリースの大砲ら。柱が喜んでるで。 もうあの柱喜んでんで。俺を使ってくれてありがとう。もうプリースター、うわぁ見てやあのタイプリースターの。あれが勝利を呼び込むんよ。あれができるやつは、マジで、ほんまにうまい。ロッカー。ゲリラも返す。
LAG looking to hold on toward this P5. I gotta say that I love the comms, especially from Cheating. You know, Grant having the greatest game is 64-14, but every time somebody goes on a spree, it's like 1 or 2 kills in a row. You just hear the call of like, nice, let's keep it going. Love to see that from Muddy Cheat.
いいね、プリーダブルキル。プリちゃんも強いね。
Even if he's not having the best of games, in those situations where your teammates might need a little bit of a battery in their back, he's going to be able to provide it with that energy that he's able to give. And just like that, they were able to bounce back over that P4, P5 hardpoint with some great time and a great hold. Now they're only up 40 points. They don't have the spawns for that P2, but they are gaining all this time in P1. You know the way that Minnesota have to play this. They have to make sure they do not let these spawns flip. With Assault getting that kill eventually at attack
ここはスタンディぐらい行きますか。羽上からの裏取り。うわっ、CD 壁抜きうまっ。いやー、大きく突き放したのはロサンゼルスゲイリラ。155対96。いやー、ゲリラうまい。うおっ、
or the Gorillas, no pun intended, is now really with players spawning out from every which angle. Both lanes being impacted by the brawl. Now toward P2, the last player alive.
タイミング LAG 第2拠点は LAG
And that will be spawn secured.
わー、ゲリラ
Now
勝ってほ
for the
しいな。
Gorillas, Minnesota on the other side of the map. Situation where we said, hey, this could be Minnesota's opportunity to bring the game back. Chaos begins to ensue, a code red
うわー、これシリーを囲み込むように流れ込んでくるのがロッカー。アバティ1キル。
Right now, LAG, they're just on point. With 30 seconds remaining on this, they already broke that 200-point mark. Minnesota didn't even try to break in, and you see Standy just trying to make anything happen. Four players are eventually going to drop.
オールダウン LAG。
With 18 seconds left here, LAG
ミネストロッカーが LAG オールダウン。
needed 50 seconds to be able to close out this game. So this 12 seconds
し
is
か
going
し
to
点
look
差は
pretty
100 点
good.
差。
Pretty good junk time right here to try
204
to
対
close this
106、
out.
約100点差の
And
リ
it's going to
ードを
force
つけてい
Minnesota
る
to
のは
eventually set up off that
LA ゲ
rotation
ルだ。
to try to get a full 60 on towards this
うわー、
P3,
パティ
but kills are going back.
何それ。
The app is making all the
うまっ。
plays. 23 and 13.
いや、アパやばいってほ
Having
ん
such
ま
a
に。
great bounce back map
23の
after that
13。
map. 3.
いや、マジでアパティうまいわ。俺ほんまに好きマジで。
His life towards that top
Is it
lane.
Chapathy yet?
SMG やってる人で参考にすべきプレイヤ
Yeah, I
ー
think he's been
ト
arisen.
ッ
I
プク
think
ラス
he's
よマジで。
awoken now.
参考になりすぎるアパティのプレイは。
He's probably like,
うお
best map, and you just see it. He's currently on the 5-3, eventually gonna get dropped, but LAG, they are playing correctly on their hard point. This might be the first time that we get to see a second win on a hard point game for LAG. That's gonna be another 3, making 4 down. All the players from Minnesota slowing out towards backwood. They cannot catch their breath as Gorillas are just keeping that pressure on.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
This series has driven through so many amazing moments. And what a dominant game so far from LAG. I know there's still 6 seconds left. Like you very well may see Minnesota, like, you know, going a little bit of a spray, maybe grab some points. But 5 only needed left. There is no doubt. This one should go the way of Gorillas. I may come back to eat my words, but at least I like my chances for the moment. Again, Apathy 28-15. Just continuing to be involved in the fights, man. Continuing to be involved in the fights. He has just been meeting players in stride. He shuts down Standy, gets away with his life. Challenges onto an attach. Oh my goodness, Gorillas.
ゲーム4ハードポイントは
おっとおー1 point away. As Minnesota
あと1点で耐え切ったのはミネストロッカー。
Spawn advantage.
耐える耐える耐える。
With player 2 now kind of toward the back
しか
end.
しあと
This
1
could be a
点。
clever play out of Assault. Do they read him? Looks as if they will be able to handle business from the back. Looking good towards the front, but can they get the rotations and LAG? They get in, they hop inside of the hill. One more point needed. And a commanding victory.
この試合の決着はゲーム5サーチ&デストロイへと持ち込まれます。
On the control and what a 100-point hardpoint victory now from the Gorillas. What a series so far, Stud.
Yeah. Man, and we got a crazy game 5. It's insane, man. That's exactly what you want out of both of these two teams, is to make sure their strong suits in their specific game mode. It all started with that first hard point. You saw Minnesota. They were able to take in the SD, LAG.
勝負はゲーム5へと持ち込まれます。もう少々お待ちください。やばすぎるって。よいしょ。TJ さんどうもお疲れ様です。さあ、それでは最後のゲーム5。マイアミですかね。行きましょう。
No delays. Miami Search and Destroy will be our final resting place for what has been a phenomenal, illustrious, excellent series. It all comes down to this. That when it comes down to records, like, do we have a favorable team in Miami Search and Destroy? I didn't actually look on screen. I don't know if they showed the stats.
Well, LAG, they're currently sitting at 4-2, and then on the opposite side, Minnesota, who are 3-3.
Okay.
But the only difference is in game 5s between these two teams, you're gonna have Gorillas who are 3-2 in that, but Minnesota who are 4-2. So the pressure might be a little different. Minnesota does have the advantage there. But in the very first round, we're going to have LAG committed over towards that A site.
Game 5.
This time we thought it was going to be Addis by itself. I mean, the island player, Priest, he's going to decide to go out there and get the first blood onto Apathy, which is going to be the bomb down. He's going to give the spot silly as well. So that's already turned into a 4v2 situation in favor of the Rock.
All right, well, Minnesota, specifically Priest, a
やばいってそれは。
little bit angry after that last.
プリちゃんやばいよそれは。
Should have got it done there.
アザルトが
slowly making his way through. You know, just nice little crawls. Maybe could catch accuracy off.
素晴らしい終電のスピード。
Time starting to wind down.
2対3。
Shots begin to echo throughout Miami.
残されたのはチナサルト。
Positions are made aware. Big fight. Assault can possibly win. He has to dip on out.
うまい、サンデー。あー、サルト逃がしきった。いや、うまい。うわー、うまい。うまい、うまい、うまい、うまい。うまい、うまい、うまい。全員強い。うまっ、チノ。
Yeah, this one's probably chalked. Chino, he's at least able to take one kill down with him. So now with about 10 seconds left, you see all the players from Minnesota not fully committing, but Chino knows that this round is basically impossible. Priest is going to be able to take him down. So that's going to be 3 kills to Priest on the round. That play doesn't happen if Priest doesn't open up with the first blood onto Apathy. See him right here. He gets team shot from both players, but just some great shots onto Apathy to able to take him down, and then a good heads-up play to take down Silly as well. Shuts down the play from LAG, and this is where it can get a little scary because the way that Minnesota decided to play that round, they took complete map control, took control of Beach, they took control of top purple, so they gave Gorillas no opportunity to try to play for anything. And right there, they were able to win their very first defensive round. So now, going to hop on board with an offensive push from Minnesota, and it's looking like they're going to be a little aggressive towards B, and this is what I like. This is set the tone nice and early. It's going to force those players who's the second player at that A site, so eventually wrap back and restack this, but a little too early to the show. Salt is going to be there. Right now, Minnesota just working through low garage.
But Apathy may have found the angle, right? They know that 3 players are going to at least be here. One on the other side. Apathy. The trigger discipline, the wonderful plays. And it's Apathy. Able to drop the second. Standing the last player alive toward the bomb. Axis on the other side of the map, for God's sake.
気づいてない、
I
ス
don't
タ
know
ン
how
ディ。
Standy's alive right now, by the
バレ
way.
てない、
I
スタン
don't
デ
even
ィ。
think LAG are
これワンチャンあ
aware
るぞ。
of how he managed to
うわー、これワンチャンあるぞ、
grip.
スタンディ。
But without a doubt, Apathy making the major plays toward the garage.
うわー。
Minnesota will be kicking themselves
うわー、
once
でも
this
パパ
round
それ出
ends,
してる。
or maybe once they go back and watch the VOD for how did we let him expose us there on the
や
flank.
っぱりシアトルはシアトルだった。CDL ポイント配りまくってる
And
から
he
ね、
is
今。
going to finally be
あー、あっちの。
38
スタンデ
HP.
ィ。
We'll survive at least to see a few more seconds, but only 1 second, really, at the end of the day. And Silly, how about the plays from Justin
マッ
Fargo?
ハパンチ
The
で
quick
1
reaction,
本
the
返
nice
して
little
1対
shot
1で
punch
す。
there. All right. I didn't know he had the hand.
マッハパンチ入れたな、
Two
今。
players eventually plays the slide perfectly.
I gotta ask you
and
really
they
quick.
just
So,
take
2試合だね。
full control of map.
what's more impressive,
Yeah.
the fact that Apathy does that, or that Standy survived? Like,
No, it's definitely the
yeah,
fact that Apathy
I know,
does
but
that
I think it's
because-
still at least kind of impressive. Like, I don't know how Standy like managed to live there. This doesn't make any sense to me.
うわ
No sense whatsoever.
粘りすぎ。ぴょんぴょんぴょ
Definitely
ん粘
does
り
it,
すぎやろ。
but standing the way that he's shooting, he's able to open up with the first blood on towards top perp. And that's just what I'm talking about. It's just them setting the tone, being aggressive towards top purple. Fortunately, they're going to give him that position now, but getting that first blood, you see Standy. Going to be playing nice and slow towards the staircase. Going to force LAG to try to work through. Able to spot Priest in the middle map as well. The number 1 player in Chino is going to be working on Garage. Standy once again is able to take down the second. Here comes the challenge out of Apathy. And they know exactly where it attaches. They need to try to locate him and take him down. And just like that,
パパほんまにうまい、マジで。
2v2.
やばい、この試合のパパ。
This is a one-man
最
wrecking
強。
crew.
めっちゃう
Nobody
まい
able。to shut him down right now. As again, the current 2 versus 2.
全てにおいて火の打ちどころがない。1v1。アバタイプリスター。
comes in, so it will be a 1 versus 1. Apathy versus Priest, and the AR will win out despite how solid the shots have been from Apathy. 74U. On the other side, arguably the same impact felt on the rocker end out of Priesta. Puts in the final 2 and secures a huge 1v1 there
いやー、
versus
ここはやっぱクリがやったね。
Yeah, that was a big round right there to make sure you secure that defensive round because it was a 2v4 situation. Standy ended up getting first 2 kills before anyone dropped. Then it turned into a 2v2 immediately. Then it turned into a 2v1. And the fact that he was able to walk away with that round still should have went in favor of the rocker. But now you find themselves up 2-1. Now LAG going into another defensive hold. The rocker looking like they're going to commit towards the same site. Priesta and the chat's trying to work through the middle of the map.
さあ、2-1、ミネストロッカーリード。まあ、ゲリラ勝ってほしいな、マジで。ショートって去年も今年もなんでこんなに弱いんですかね。メンツ確かにね。シアトル確かデシメート入ったでしょ。あ、俺デシメート入ってから見てないんだけど、もう試合したデシメート入ってから。デシ入ってから試合したんかな。
Again, Minnesota really just kind of being caught out, like in terms of these rotations, in terms of them just not really being aware of kind of the crafty play, the methodical play out of the opposite side.
デシ入ってもあかんかったんか。
Thankfully for Priesta, he is able to drop Chin, so
あ、
at
2試合や
least
ってんねや。
that beach side player will be shut down.
まあでも別にデシメート弱くないから全然。
where it is going to leave
デシ取ったのは妥当だと思う。
what could be a very surprising finish. Again, the 2 versus 3 right now
なんで多いん
favoring
やろうね。
LAG.
コーチがわかんない
Matters
ちゃ
to
う。
get the angle. Let's toss out some utility. Meanwhile, on the other side, it's Apathy does get dropped. So
チームシューティング
quick 2v1 fight that will
2
allow
対
for the
3
bomb
から
to
2
get
対 2。
planted.
しかし爆弾の周りで集まってきてるのは LA ゲリラ。逃がさない。ワンブイツー。プリスト。お前よ。うわぁ。GG すぎやろ。
It looked good for LAG, and granted, while they do close it out, a little bit too close for comfort. Regardless, Gorillas, they level us up at 2 apiece.
GG すぎやろ、今のマジ
Just
で。
wait for that. Some great shots. I said him with 1 bullet. Eventually close that out. So now we're tied at 2-2. And so far, the way that Minnesota have liked to play this, you know, you're going to continuously send Priest over towards that beach side. The Gorillas, they're trying to work over there. They have to try to eliminate him, but some early shots are going to come in. They're able to watch him as he crosses. And number 4, he's going to put himself in a position to try to take him down. But Priest, he's going to get called out. He's going to back up this time, and he doesn't have that bolt control this time around to have full beach setup.
名誉
You just see Assault, right, kind of playing up close toward B. You will see that player kind of look toward middle, just trying to catch an angle, but
シアトル弱いです。アサルト
go prone, or to find himself in a nice spot. He can very easily find a number of different players off of rotation, kind of somewhat of an unorthodox angle.
Oh shit.
Meanwhile, his position is going to be known. Tries to tag up Priest to get here for the challenge in time.
あー、プリーズだ。ファーストブラッド。あー、アサルト逃げられない。ミレスロッカー4対2。うわー、そっちからどうすん？うわー、粘る。いやー、シリいい位置いる。うわー、まだわからんぞこれ。あー、プリースさんのその裏取りやばい。うちのうまい。空物。プリースター。落とす。チノ。うわー、プリースター。ガチジミじゃん、これ。やば。やばすぎっしょ、これ。
puts in the damage here yet again.
Man, Priest is having himself a map. He's just opening up with another kill. Round by round, the guy is almost at double digits already. He's really taking over for his team. That's going to be 3 on the round, so he's already at 10. All of his teammates not really having a good map besides Standy, who's sitting at even. But they're up 3-2. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. The guy has really been putting the team on his back, but now he needs his teammates to help him close this one out. So it's going to be a little aggressive push towards that B site. This time he's able to spot and give that information to his teammates, and no one is aggressive towards top purple. But accuracy is going to get dropped by Assault. Some great shots with that Craig. Now they do have the man advantage in favor of LAG. With all these players pushing towards low garage, this is not really a favorable thing for Minnesota because their flank is going to be open. There's so many things that need to be watched now, but they're going to be able to work this bomb plant. And a 4v3 retake now is LAG.
Some of this LAG team, right? They like to kind of sink their teeth into these defensive rounds. Give them the first blood, and that just allows them to be even more comfortable. In what is already a very well-defined play style is Gene makes his way on the flank. Priest that puts in some nice shots toward App, but nearly gets evaporated.
あー、タッチ上からのカバー。いやー、かっこみ込んだ。シリー。あー、ここは爆弾解除、アサルト。これは間に合いますね。ゲームカウント3対3。並んできます。並ぶねー、マジで。
That one is not going to work out despite some good plays kind of toward the outer workings of the bomb site. It is LAG who secure it.
Yeah, they almost make that round happen right there in a 2v4 situation as soon as they get the bomb down. But unfortunately, Adam Assault with the heads-up play just a hot bomb forces his teammate to watch over him. Now we're all tied at 3-3. Minnesota on that defensive round. Priest that he's been going big play after play at that A site. Is he going to decide to go there once again? And no, he's going to decide to play with his teammates this time and go through that B bomb site. And this might be the opening that LAG need.
モダンフェア序盤の会場の選手入場ね。いや、オフライン見たいよな、マジで。いや、正面オフライン見たい、マジで。ガチでオフラインやってほしい。なんかもう選手の生の表情がやっぱ見たいよね、オフラインの。マジでやってほしいな、本当に。楽しみだね。多分、今回のメジャー、シーズンメジャーやのかな確か。今回のメジャーは多分オフラインでやると思うから。
Their talents toward the South Beach is really so far. It was accuracy, the sole man here. As we talked about, he can be that island player. It is going to have some support. Run gets so intense. Nobody yet to drop. I don't even think a bullet has really even been fired too much so far. That quickly begins to change. Two other than Priesta. Locking in another first blood. He's able to shut down Happy to start. The long range fight's only going to continue. Pixel perfect.
Beaming.
Attach and he'll take down another. I'm not even sure if that was through the wall, whatever it may be. Wall bangs, everything. This round had it all, but it only favors the Minnesota Rocker. As against it was just the long range fights. LAG, they couldn't contend.
またしてもエレギュレーダーを突き放します。
Their setup was just once again too slow. They gave the opportunity for the players on Minnesota to hit that flank. You see the positioning out of Standy, out of Priesta to push through that site. Priesta gets the guy as he's trying to go for the bomb plant. As another player is trying to rotate up through the beach side, Standy, he was able to get another one as well. They were just able to pinch those guys out because their offensive round was just slow. And accuracy, he just did such a great job of just playing his life, forcing the players from LAG to just continuously trying to spot him before they worked that bomb plant. Just took too much time. No one was watching the flank right there.
さあ、追いついてまた突き放すのがミネストロッカー。
Minnesota,
ゲレ勝ってしまいまして。タカさんのボックスです。ありがとうございます。コメントありがとうございます。いや、チノもいいとこ見てるね。うわー。まずはチノがアタッチをキャッチ掴んで離しません。素晴らしいエイム。サンディはここチラチラチラチノがいるんです。チノがいるんです。そこにはチノ気づけるか。ああ、さらとチノ持っていった。アギラシー 1B4 シチュエーション。エレギュレーダーも追いつきます。4-4。クソ GG やんマジで。最高やん。
It is LAG not going down without a fight as the Krigs, the ARs continue to be the tail of the search and destroy stud.
This is just such a back and forth game. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we go to another round 11. These guys are on point right now on their defensive holds. They're winning a majority of those. Minnesota, this time they're going to be on defense once again. And it's looking like Priesta is going to go for that 3-stack towards that B site. And LG, they have the opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive towards A.
うわー、ゲレダーが欲しいな。どっちかっていうと俺ゲレダー好きやから。
Silly, unfortunately, is going to
い
get
やー、プリー
spotted
スター
by
ワースブラッド。
Priesta. Some great
マジで化
shots
け物やろ、
on
ほ
the
んま。
first blood.
プリちゃん、クソ強いって。
In the bomb carrier who's apathy, he's going to be all the way on that side of the map. He's going to rotate all the way to the middle of the street. Accuracy able to take down Chino. So now in a 4-2 situation, LAG just can't get anything going on their offensive round.
アーパティ思い切ったな、これ。あー、サルト逃げきれない。アーパティ援護射撃。キルを取りきれません。生き残ります。アーパティ。あー、スタンディ取った。アーパティ 1v4。ミネソタロッカーマッチポイントへ到達。勝利まであと1ラウンドとなりました。エレギュレーダー後がない。ゲームカウント2対2。最後のサーチャンデストロイ。ラウンド11が見たいところはプリースタ14キル4です。バケモンかな？ルーさんはいや、フロリダだっけ？この他の時フロリダって言ってなかったっけ？確か。フロスティ好きって言ってなかった？
Number 3 and number 4 are going to have their hands full as already Minnesota are going to be on the site.
に入っているのはミネストロッカー。設置完了。そして下がりきってない。しかしプリースのカバーが入る。3v3。アタッチ多く持っていった 3v2 人数有利はエレギュレーダー。プリースのこの位置。ああ神エイム。シリ粘れ粘れ。味方が裏行ってるって。シリ落ち着け。シリ落ち着け。チノ。チノ。チノ行ってけて。ああ。プリースタやばすぎ。やばすぎプリースタマジで。Oh my goodness. Priest with the beast. Game 5 winners.
Man, that was a crazy round. That Minnesota just come out on top there.
スコアボード見るか。
For you guys, it's not
17の4。
good series, nonetheless, between these two teams.
バケモンでしょこれ。キルレ 1.7。やばすぎ。さあ、というわけで、まずは、ゲーム1、ゲームが、ロサンゼルスギルダ vs ミネストロッカーは3対2でミネストロッカーということで、これからね、本日の 第2試合に移りたいと思います。本日最後の試合は、Optic Gaming vs ニューヨークサブライノーズ。これやばいっしよ、ニューヨーク対オプティック。やばいな。最近もライブで見とるんですわ、俺。いいね。感謝さんこんばんは。ゲリラ負けちゃった。バカ惜しかったけど。ライブで見るのがね、いっちゃんいいや、マジで。さあ、それではね、さあ、ニューヨークでオプティック、見ますか。ちょっと待ってね。これやばいっしょ、マジで。さあ、ちいっしょ、これ。よいしょ。よいしょ。エイジム大好き、強い。エイジム強いよな、マジで。あ、ディパちゃんありがとう。高評価、チャンネル登録、ポチッとお願いしますということで、チャンネル登録1万人目指しております。現在チャンネル登録者数は9276。いい感じだね。よいしょ。さあ、ほな、見ますか。ニューヨークベースオプティック。本日最後の試合。まずは、両チームメンバーから見ていきましょう。まずは、オプティックシカゴ。メンバーはスカンピーだし、エンバイフォーマルという、初期のね、コールド序盤からメンバーが変わっておりません。そして対するニューヨークサブラナズメンバーは、エイシム、クレイスター、ハイドラ、マークということで、やはりハイドラに注目ですかね。さあ、というわけで、マップはこのようになっております。アポカリプスエクスプレス、チェックメイト、モスクワ、レイド。これは、どうですかね、発砲は、はいはいはいはいはい。マップボートだからこれはバンしてんのかな。ニューヨークはチェックメイトバンしてんだ。さあ、それではゲーム1ハードポイント、アポカリプスから見ていきましょう。
I'm not a little surprised because Checkmate hasn't really been one of those strong suits for NYSL. Ever since picking up Hydra, it's been a map that they've really been struggling with because it's just hard to keep up with the rotations. You know how strong that P5, I mean that P4, the P5 can be. And I think they're just really good at it. And they've only got one loss, and that's the one loss that they gained last week versus Thieves. So they're basically undefeated. You don't count that one. New York, we're not trying to test those waters there.
CD リッパーようこそ、カンさん。前澤、わかる。ハイドラ前澤に似てるよな。前澤さんに宇宙移行してる人。
A lot of teams, like you said, trying to expand that map pool. It's off the rip. It is New York, hot and heavy, into the spawns of Optic. Really just trying to get up close and personal in the middle side of the map. They take their time, and they quickly claim control of mid. You've got Optic kind of spawning on both sides. It is a current 2 versus 2 fight inside of the hill, but it's Hydra starting off with a nice 4-0 spree. New York early, signs of life.
ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。
And they quickly claim control of mid. You've got Optic kind of spawning on both sides. It is a current 2 versus 2 fight inside of the hill, but it's Hydra.
GG.
Oh man, that's a terrible start if you're Optic right there.
さあ、メンバー登録ありがとうございます。
Unfortunately,
ですも
not
ね、この
any
試合
kills
楽しみ
going to your
に見て
favor.
てください、
So
カンさん。
New York they aim to get
いつもありがとうございます、
25
カン
seconds
さん。
uncontested on this P1 hard point. As I say that, 3 players are going to drop. So number 2, his in Clayton, he's going to have his hands full off the rotation. You see all the players from New York.
確かに前田さん似てるな。
Unfortunately, Clayton's going to drop there, so now it's all left up to his teammates. But you see number 7, such a great play out of the route man and Envoy going to set up the pinch and eventually eliminate all the players from New York on this side of the map. And now Optic have full control.
Indeed, as the hill actually does get wiped away for the moment. It will be, like you mentioned, Optic, because of that player 5 positioning at a scump. It will secure spawns here for Temple, but kind of in the midst of that push, right? We talked about Envoy. A major conversation has been around him about his ability to flank. A lot of teams have said they started to kind of figure out
流れ込んでくるニューヨーク。プレスアイシム。フォロー2トップ。トロフィーが投げ物を防ぐ。ニューヨーク前線待機。エンボイ出し続いて。エンボイ。オプティック第2拠点を制圧完了。そして続いて第3拠点に向かっております。ゲリラじゃなかった？
about if they can pick up the kills in those certain situations, and right there they get the job done. But you're gonna see right off the rip of this P3 hardpoint, New York are gonna be nice and early in towards this. And I think they're trying to break in, kills going back and forth. New York do have the spawns that they want on this side of the map. Max still hitting some great shots with that Krig, and should see a lead change here pretty soon.
Very well could be the case. New York with a slim advantage for the time. As Mac, long-range shots really toward the bottom side of the map, does finally get met with the nade. Without a doubt, it has been a very closely contested game to start this one off.
マジ強いな、フォーマル。いやー、ダイロプティック。バカ GG してるやん。楽しい。
A lot of times it does come down to the communication. Let's go ahead and step aside and listen in with the communication out of Optic Chicago for our Astro Listen In.
すでに楽しんでます。普通に試合見てるの楽しいんだけど、推しが決まりません。好きな選手いないですか？
One back right, one coop, one on time. He's laying down close to L Hydra. L Hydra. I spawned out. Wait for me. Wait for me.
いいね、ニューヨーク。固めるね。うおー、いいチーム侵入。ここは思い切ってチャレンジ。オーマイガー、フォーマル。いやー、耐え切ったニューヨーク。これ次のポイントリスも取ってんだよね、ニューヨーク。いや、いい流れ。 センタリングやばいな、フォーマルの。いや、マジセンタリングやばいな。うまい、フォーマル。あー、はい、だら込み込まれた。キルさん、こんばんは、どうも。
Yeah, I'm gonna go coop, okay? You guys just wait for me. I'm gonna go left, guys. I'm gonna go left. One's probably bottom TV or something. Push out. Yeah, nothing. Bottom left, I'm flashing TV. I think back, aren't we? Yeah, I'm shot at the back. I don't see him on the truck. Nothing close right. Yo, on the tree. Tree Clay.
プレサー。うわー。ビーン。
You want front? Yeah, let's push out bottom TV. Yeah, right here. Above you. Watch out. I'm playing back. Roll left for me, Ace him. Playing back? No. Two go left.
いや
ー。
うまい。
I'm gonna hit him. Go right. Look for him. I'm not going right. He's going right. He's going right from coop. I hear. I don't see him back. There's two there.
いや、やば、ニューヨーク今見た？2人で立って伏せて見てたで、上下クロスで。めっちゃすぎやろ。クレイが立って、エイシムが伏せて。うわー、ニューヨークいいぞ、これ。まあ、俺的にはニューヨークに勝ってほしいかな。クレイ好きやから。お、マックとマメバン。エンボイ。マック。投げ物が来る。がしかしエンボイ。がしかしエンボイ。最強。
Really steady. I know really when we were kind of listening in for a moment, it was great to hear the hype. It was great to kind of hear the communication out of Optic. Just really the overall positioning, not favoring them, like I said, in those first set of rotation.
Yeah, like one thing that
ニューヨーク強え。いやー、ニューヨーク強え。いいぞー、ニューヨークいいぞー。オプティック縛れたれ。いいぞー、エイシム。
Are we team challenging? Are we pushing this? In New York, they are just
Yo,
fully
見てた
set
な、オ
up
プティック今の。
on every single hard point. They were able to hold that P4 from the front side and eventually flip those spawns to the back, and then hold a complete 60 on towards that
第一第二にとってね、やばくね、ニュー
P5.
ヨ
Now
ー
they're
ク。
rotating to the second rotation of hard points. They're getting a good amount of time off of this P1, and they're keeping those spawns for P2. So right now, New York are just on point with their rotations. Clayster's really stepped up in the second half of this game. He really didn't have a good start to this one, but his team is just on point right now, especially in these hard points.
And it's so impressive as well. Like on Apocalypse, I feel like so often we see teams maybe kind of overvalue P2.
ニューヨーク強え。
kind of P1 to go the opposite direction.
約90点
Really
差。
doubling the score right now is the New York subliner sitting firmly inside of that
映像、ニューヨークマジで完璧や流れ。
was a recent loss. This was the map.
はい、マックハイドラハイドラ。Let's fucking go, dude. これはたまらんね。オプティック。オプティックゲーミングさん。秘宝オプティックゲーミングさん。ニューヨーク。チームセッティング。これは力ませんね。このハードポイントはせざるを得ないかニューヨーク。ジャイアンオプティック。そして次のポイントも流れ込んでくる。ダッシーなんとか抑える。
A hard spot to be put in if you're Optic Chicago right now. Nobody really
いい
having
で
a
すね。ニューヨーク
stellar
はポイントは取っていないんですけど、マップ下のレーンはしっかりと取っているので、
It's really been Hydra who has
視
yet
点が
to
始
be
まってから
met.
すぐ取り返しの形が取れるが、うわー、ハイドラだ。ハイドラだ。ハイドラだ。ハイドラだ。ああ。
Good measure, putting the exclamation point here on Apocalypse is 3 seconds away, and it will be NYSL coming out of the gates hot
ニュ
with
ー
the
ヨークサブ
commanding
ライナーズゲーマーハードポイント勝利。ハイドラビーストモード。Oh my goodness. What a performance. Oh my god. スコアボード見ていきましょう。ハイドラ29キル14です。さあ、ゲームはハードポイント勝利したのはニューヨークサブライナーズ。この勢いのまま流れ込むことができるでしょうか。ゲーム2サーチャンデストレイは
One thing to kind of consider, we talked about the Apocalypse hardpoint. That was one that they did drop versus the LA Thieves. That was a commanding loss, and obviously they lose it here. Whenever they did face off against the LA Thieves, though, they also did play Express Search and Destroy. That's when we saw the FFAR get brought out by Dashi. Everybody was changing their classes, thinking, hey, maybe this is the weapon I should have. But they did control that one pretty well. They did win it in a 6-3 fashion. For NYSL, like I said, the Search and Destroys really haven't been all that great for them either, Stud.
OG はね、いや、いつも OG は割とこんな感じなんか。シーズン序盤、うおーってなんだよ、なんか。まあ、BO 本って言えばさ、なんかもう、やばいみたいな、もう、BO 本、最初の CW ペガス、オプティック最強はバンジバンジみたいな感じでもなんかもうオプティック今シーズンいけるうわーみたいになんねんけど、あれみたいな。あれみたいな。だから阪神みたいな感じ。なんかゴールデンウィークぐらいまではシーズン序盤バカ強いんやけど、まあ、そこからはもう徐々に減速するみたいな。で、何がダメって、オプティックは配信するな、マジで。唯一オプティックだけなんだよね、交流戦配信してんの。それがダメ。ニューヨーク取りましたね。
Yeah, so that challenge did get a little bit scary for me, right? I feel like with the ASIM challenge the way that he was, I'm not sure like, you know, how the team shots were going to look in that moment, but regardless, ASIM's able to win it. The SMGs, without a doubt, having their stamp in that opening round. And really what Hydra is able to drop 2 to start off, and he's kind of been, you know, the major conversation point for NYSL. The hard points have been great. Search and Destroy and Control for him, not so excellent. Right now in Search and Destroy, granted, he's only played a few series. At a .62, still trying to work on his kind of value to the team. But we know how great. There's no doubt about it. The gun skill is there, so it's just a matter of kind of getting in a rhythm, I guess you could say, here in the Search and Destroy. This would be a great time for him to come alive.
OG だと思う、多分。 いや、どっちなんだろう。言われてみると分かんなくなってきた。今年の阪神はバケモンマジで。まあ、コロナ的な影響もあったんだろうけど、今年の阪神はマジでバケモン。やばー、スカンピー。ダブルキル。今年の阪神マジでやばくないっていうか、ほんまに話変わるんやけど、バカ強くない？なんか、誰やったっけ？佐藤やったっけ？斉藤やったっけ？なんか、ドラフトで取った新人がマジでやばいよ。阪神マジ強いよな。今年の阪神はマジでバカ強い。横浜相変わらず。あ、佐藤。バカ打つやな。あんまりちゃんと見えてへんねんやんか。なんかその自分が配信とかしてるから、あんまりその野球覚えてへんねんけど、生で。さあ、B での激しい打ち合い。クレイスターファーストブラッド。エイシムチームシングでキャラドル。フォーマル1枚返す。がしかし、ニューヨーク流れ込んできて2-1。ニューヨークいいね。ハイドラめっちゃ可愛いやん。押せるわ、これは。
The aggression from the submachine guns, they have really been just taking over this series so far. Hydra and
今年のハムわかんねえよ。
being aggressive towards mid-map. This is the second
いつも
defensive
日ハム
round
強
they've
く
been
ない？
able to win.
パリ
They
ーグ。
open up with the first blood with Clay to pick and dash you from down low. And they just take control of that bomb site. But now New York, they find themselves up 2-1. You saw the way that Optic decided to play that last round. If I'm New York, I'm going for the same exact play. That slow and steady push towards B because it caught them off guard. It just let Scump make that play individually by himself. But now it's looking like Optic is going to attack this through the middle of the map. Scump's going to be able to open up with another first blood. He's able to take down the second as well. So just like that, Scump is making the play once again. Clayster left in a 1v3.
Like I said, man, he just continues to hold down the ADS. Like he doesn't try to, do anything unnecessary. It's just, hey, I know you're going to challenge me from this corner. I'm just going to wait for you to make the mistakes. Excellent plays in these last 2 rounds, or rather the only 2 rounds that Optic have won so far. It has been Scump coming through with a crucial double kill. And again, it seems like the SMGs are going to be the story of this map. So far, they have been from New York, and so far, Scump has answered the call. E2P having a great performance, currently at 9 combined. 4 rounds of play, as we'll get to see what Optic wants to show us here. Again, at times they've been having some struggles over at that B side, especially when New York has been on the defensive. At least attempt at making a play toward A much slower start to the round.
今のその日本の野球事情が分からんけど、結構さ、日本のその野球もなんかコロナいっぱい出てるから、なんかその一軍の選手おらなくなったりしてんねやろ。結構状況が違うよな。
Yeah, so Envoy, he was able to gain that information that 2 players are pushed up towards low lockers with the great shoulder. Give him that information, but you see Optic slowly rotating over.
グレイスター、ここはキロ持っていけない。しかし、チーム1番落とす。グレイスター、ここは自爆。うわー、チーム1枚しっかり持っていった。2v2 シチュエーション。バカで拾った。ボイ。おー、何そのショットパンチやば。ダッシュ万別。しかし爆弾あるぞ。うわー、2人で待ってるんよね。ニューヨーク3-1。
Now they found themselves up 3-2.
And just the good plays right here from Hydra. He does walk away with both and gets a nice assistance from Mac, no doubt. But this is the guy that you really want to set up. I know necessarily wasn't Mac trying to maybe, kind of set himself up to die for Hydra, but again, you just want to kind of get some confidence in this young gun stud. We talked about him, obviously making a trip from France. He is the phenom. A lot of pressure on his shoulders to really try and perform from the team. And really, any opportunity that you can get for Paco, aka Hydra, just to have a good moment, you will take it. But really, solid performance from him to start off. 5-3. Good performance early. Mac, the nice shots.
うわー、投げ物うまい、スカンピー。トレード成立3対3。ニューヨークは B に速攻で爆弾設置完了です。
First time we've seen a bomb plant so far throughout all the rounds that we've watched. So it's gonna be a little different, but Optic in a 3v3 retake now. Gonna see Scump.
ハイダラの待ってる位置やばすぎやろこれ。バカオフアングルやん。これは気づかんわ。うわうまい、ショルダリング上からカバー。うわー、今のハイダラうまっ。今のチャレンジしてんのうまいな。ウェブやろ持ってますやん。あ、スタックしてんのかあれ。ダッシースタックしてたくさ。
Out of New York, you know, I said coming into the series, I think, you know, we're going to see the FAFAR make somewhat of a debut. It did. It also did in the Express versus LA Thieves, and they treated him well. But I said, man, I tell you what, like whenever I use that weapon in league play, or not in league play, just in regular pubs, it just flies. Like it just flies up my screen. I gotta say, despite not finding a kill there with the FFAR at a Dashi, like this makes it look like there's no recoil on the gun. I don't know how he does it. Bruce is not human. I'm convinced.
Definitely not human, but formal. Able to open up with the first blood now in this round number 7. So now it's going to be a 4v3. Seam is able to spot one player crossing through the middle of the train. Dashi with great movement, able to play his life perfectly. Now eventually this A-bomb plant is going to come in for Optic. So now in a 4v3 retake, 2 nades are going to come in. Subliner D. First blood is going to come on to Envoy. And they know that Scomp's going to be Dashi going to get perfect timing. Turn on a seam. On a 3v2 situation. He's in such a great position, but unfortunately, great shoulders out of Dashi. Give up that. But Mac, great shots over, and it's going to be a 2v1 situation. Dashi versus Mac and Hydra.
I'm at the plays from these two. In the clutch, all down to Bruce. 25 seconds on the clock. He's going to gain some information, at least toward this top side.
インサイトがハイドラやろうな、多分ルーキーオブザイヤー。
which is in fact the case. And we've got Concast, so we know exactly where those New York players are at, but Dashi having to play his life carefully. With 10 seconds left, I mean, really, he has to try to force it as quick as possible to try to go for the plant, but he's just looking at every single direction. And New York, they come out and surprise again. The well-played situation in the clutch, and that a big question that I had coming into this, I know you did as well. How are New York?
Last round was just nothing but teamwork. The fact that Hydra was taking shots from multiple players on Optic. Eventually Mac puts out a couple shots over on top.
TOURNAMENTMWバック前進。しかしここはトレード成立。エンボイ返します。3対3。ニューヨークサブライナーズしっかりと人数を削ることに成功しています。A チーム爆弾設置、そして4番のハイドラがかなり高い位置に上がっている。うわ、見てくれや。どこで恨みしてんの？気持ち悪い。うわ。うわ、今のうまいな。ハイドラだ。スカンピが目入る。スカンピ、チル。チル、メン。しかし、シム。ニューヨークサブライナーズ 2-0 です。ニューヨークサブライナーズ 2-0 です。さあ、ゲームカウント2対0。このコントロールで勝負が決まってしまうんでしょうか。で、コントロールはチェックメイト。
prior engagements, and could this be another? As New York looking to seal the deal here in the checkmate control.
だからそのここはシカゴだ。シカゴハンズメだったんだけど、そのオプティックゲーミング自体を買収して、なんかそのなんだろう、オプティックを吸収したって感じかな。で、名前変更する権利を提出して。それが認められたから、シカゴハンズメンからオプティックシカゴに名前が変更できたっていう感じだね。名前も変わったし、そもそもチーム自体もマイナー G、カッコオプティックシカゴハンズメンが買収したって感じかな。いやー、うまい、ハイドラ。確かにね、3-0ありそうだね、ニューヨーク。
From Optic to secure this and extend his time by a minute. Scump's currently 2-0. He captures the play. He's going to drop to Glacier there. But you have a 2 live advantage. All you need to do is work this B point, and early on, it's going to be Envoy onto this point. It's going to try to rotate, try to take down Hydra, and it's still trying to fight for map control. The thing is, Optic do have that plane control right now. Just wait for kills to eventually come and sink. And Envoy, he's just not missing, man. That's going to be another 2 down. This might be the opportunity for Optic to hop this.
Oh my goodness, Envoy. Just a great shot. To the bottom side of the plane, and now he takes plane for himself as he's hitting beams. Takes the head clean off of ASIM. As that should surely set up Optic to be in a good position to get some more time here at that B control point.
No, and boys.
Envoy, the route maker indeed. Shutting players down left and right. New York licking their wounds in the backside of the spawn. Question being, can they even get to the hill in time? And it looks as if they will contend for the moment. Hydra wins a big fight, so they will delay. That's a big moment. They're out in New York.
9対15なんですよね、チケット差が。なんとチケットが6枚差。ニューヨークサムライダーズかなり苦しい状況。ハイドラ。いや、マジでしっかりチケット削っていくな、ニューヨーク。やば連携やばやばオプティックさんオプティックゲーミングさんちょっとオプティックさん ?89 チケット差を返しているな、ニューヨークサブラナーズ。オプティックさん
Players get onto it and eventually contest that and win the majority of those gunfights. Now Optic, they waste that cruise missile. They have a 2 live advantage with 45 seconds remaining. 追いついたのはオプティックゲーミングやニューヨークサブラナーズです。あれだけあったチケット差を返したのはニューヨーク。しかし5対8。依然として3枚リードはオプティック。エンボイがエイシも落とす。マックカバー。ハイドラ。いやー、よく仕留めた。4対6。リスポーンがないのはニューヨークサブラナーズ。いやー、完璧にてくる。ケリさんもカバー。ハイドラもカバー。3対4。残り時間30秒切っている。2対3。オプティック人数有利。残り時間は17秒を切っています。
Here comes the capture time, the nice snap from Envoy. All down to ASIM, and Chicago will be able to find it, but boy, was it a difficult one.
Envoy.
Back and forth, it was Envoy who was well deserved of that best play, but
コントロールチェックメイト勝利に導いたのは間違いなくエンボイでしょう。
Yeah, man, that one it got a little scary for Optic because obviously they thought they were going to be able to stack that and close this out. Envoy still have his 2 streaks. Best case scenario, but New York, they were able to contest that to the very end, and now they do get that capture point.
どっちもやばすぎやろ今の。
offensive push.
どうなってんねんマジで。
They do waste a streak from Envoy in that previous round, so they got to keep in mind of that artillery. But Optic, they just did such a great job at just keeping plane control. New York, they need to adapt to that. They need to get some more players in plane, winning more of those engagements.
Will be the early attack from New York. Toward the A Street as Mac will put in the first blood. Not a stat that we often highlight, really, in anything other than search and destroy, but with how crucial these opening breaks are for offenses in control, at times it can be a stat that you have to bring up. As Mac continues to win the fights. Shuts down Dashi. Meanwhile, it's Hydra doing the damage control for the top lane. As that will be 1 tick through. New York looking for the stack. Also, trying to keep in mind that future control. I was going to ask the question, is Optic trying to go for the contest here, or is it go the opposite way? Will the Scump and Envoy finding the fights that they do will come down to a big 2 versus 3. Optic, they clear the point. They hold on for now.
ニューヨーク A の拠点を2ゲージ確保しましたが、止めたのは OG、スカンピ、しかしハイドラ。いや、うまい、ハイドラ。
Optic, all they have to do is just hold the line, hold the players from New York towards their side of the base. Scump is doing such a great job at that 8 point, able to take down another 2.
おー、丸よく取った。これは防衛できそうですかね、ニューヨークのトゥイック。
They had to try to commit towards this 8 point, but just the line of defenses that Optic have right now. Scump has just done such a great job of just holding this down with 15 seconds left. 2 players are now going to drop. New York have to get on a point now.
10 seconds remaining off the clock. They have to try to balance the time while also trying to get to the point. And really with these fights continuing to go the way of Optic, this is going to be their round to win. With 1 second though, ASIN does get over toward B. Again, it is a long shot, but it is one nonetheless. And speaking of long shots, I don't know how he wins that fight there with the 74U. Bending the bullets and securing the 2-0 advantage. Not offensive. We talked about attack comes up. Both good on attack, but Chicago is number 3 on defense. New York, they dropped down to 11. So really a big swing from this Optic team. Control was their mode to start off the season, and can it be the one that they rely on to get back in this series? Starting things off well with a nice 2-0, as New York so far throughout round 3 have yet to drop.
Yeah, so right now New York, you're having a bad map out of a C-man Claser. If you're not able to slay checkmate, you can get put nice and early into a spawn trap. But all the kills in favor of New York. Not a single player has dropped this round number 3. But as I say that, there goes the caster curse, and Scump is able to take down Hydra. But they're just keeping all Optic in their base. They're not allowing Envoy to use his artillery to try to set the push. As I say that, they're fighting for play control. Scump eventually is going to win that gunfight once a Claser, but Asim is still so far pushed up towards blue. The players from Optic have to keep track of him, and time is starting to tick, but that might be the opening to get on towards the same point. 2 players, unfortunately, are going to drop at the same time. In New York, they are just holding the line.
Yeah, and really that crossfire kind of toward the 30-yard line of Optic's base has been so well established throughout this round. Can they finally get an opening with 10 seconds left? Now's the time to do it if ever. Keeping in mind, life count not drastic by any means, so if Optic were to secure this, by no means is that B point all but an afterthought. With 5 seconds left, New York, they get the clearance. And again, despite what was kind of an even round slang-wise, it was New York who come out hot and heavy, deny that that 11th rank in defense, and they come out with one of the most convincing yet, Stud.
Yeah, they just get the job done.
なんとか残ったニューヨーク。ゲームカウントは 1-2。しかし依然としてマッチポイントはオプティックシカゴ。ちょっとエイシムとクレイの調子が振れませんかね、あまり。
As that main assault rifle on a map like Checkmate, you need to be able to hold down these lanes and pick up those kills. It's not over until it's over. Right here, you see Scump. He's doing such a great job of just playing control. He's going to give him 3 right off the initial break, and that's once again going to shut down the push from New York.
Another push forward it is Clay.
やばい、めっちゃお腹空いていた。
Not the greatest match so far throughout this control.
今日よく考えたらマジ何も食ってない。
To lead the charge, not just in maybe slaying himself, but also in the communication. He gets dropped yet again by Envoy. Granted, if you're New York, you're still grabbing some progress, but it's gotta be frustrating when Envoy just turns around the corner and is really guaranteed a kill every time he sees you. But off of that, Chicago starting to fall a few in spree. The stack is in from NYSL. That kill looks good to me.
Scumpy triple.
1 versus 2. Scump goes big.
Scumpy triple kill.
Now clear that A point, that progress somewhat going out the window. And here comes the streak. We'll see if that does affect NYSL in a major way. At the very least, maybe just slowing their progress off of spawn. 45 seconds left. You've got 1 more tick left today. No progress at B. What can New York do in what is currently a very tricky situation? Cleared out 1 portion and ASIM with the fight toward the top.
クレイエイシンマック。
clear.
ニューヨーク。これ取れますね。
Finally grab that A point stud.
これはエンボイのでつけなかった。うまいエイシム。やばすぎやろこの見残し。うわトロフィーの壊し方特殊すぎんちょっと。ニューヨークさん？ニューヨークさん？うわほんまに強い。エイシムいい色取り。エイシムいい色取り。いやしかし止めたらスカンピー。1ゲージ、2ゲージは止めたい。しかしクレイスターのカバー、ダッシュでもカバーに入る。クレイダブルキル。エンボイもすかさずカバーに入るが、どうだ？前線は 2v2。うわー、オプティック止めた。エイシム。 逃げる。
Trying to stay alive, waiting for his
うわー、
teammates
髪
to
の
come
貸
off
し。
the spawn. How quickly can the
お
cavalry
お、エイ
start
ジム。
to arrive? But it's
Oh my god.
He doesn't even need any support.
うわー、いい
He's
動
all
き。
in by himself.
あー、スカン認めた。
He's able to shut him down.
どちら
The team fights
スカン認めた。ダブルキル。
continue to echo throughout checkmate as Clay
うわー。
tosses up the nade for good measure.
やばすぎ
Just
る
a
っ
few
て。
more ticks, just a few more
やば
moments
す
before
ぎるっ
this
て
one
マジでそれは。
belongs to New York, but Scump hops on the point, trying to take away any of that progress.
チケット差7対8と1枚リード取っているのはオプティックシカゴ。しかしニューヨークもまだ粘ります。残り時間は48秒。
On checkmate, 27 and 18. Can New York try to clear him out as they rely on players like Ace to try to get to the top side of the plane? But he drops.
ハイドラのカバー。
Hydra trying to make his way toward top. Glacier tries to go for
いやー、
the
パ
punch,
ン
but he
チ届か
falls.
ず。
Now a
当たったんです
5v4
が、
favoring
つかみに
Optic,
来
but
た。
Hydra.
いやー、しかしハイドラうまい。いや、これ最強。ハイドラ最強マジで。この位置取ってるってことはアイドリストになるもん。やばい。ハイドラやばい。ハイドラやばい。ハイドラやばい。ほんまに。あー、ホマル。2v2。ホマル。ダブルキル。ハイドラ 1v2。あー。
And Optic will hold on here in the control. A round that literally goes down to the final moments. But it is Optic who stay alive and hold off the 3-0 sweep attempt from New York.
They stay alive, man, and it was just great plays from their SMD duo. Scump was doing such a great job at just keeping that plane control. And then even when we thought New York had multiple opportunities to cap that initial point, Scump jumps off the plane, and he's able to take down 3, not once, but twice to shut down that push. And then eventually towards the later rounds, Envoy, the route man, picks up some early streaks, and eventually he just plays his life beautifully. He was not missing any bullets on that map. It would have been... I would have been real sad right there if they ended up losing that one, because New York, they were really struggling to fight out of their base. Optic basically looked like they were in control the entire time. But New York, they just kept on answering, kept on trying to fight back. Optic, they shut it down though. Now they find themselves still in this series, down 2-1, going into another hard point. Optic stay alive, and that's the first respawn in a couple days. Good job, Optic. Way to get that one underneath your belt.
It is indeed, man. So this is like one that I feel like Optic deserved. Like based on the way Amo was playing, like you feel like they just kind of deserved to take this.
ニューヨークまだリードです。
Staying your life, to playing your life, to making sure that you're communicating and for your teammates, and just making the heads-up play that you know is going to work out for your team in the long run. And on a map like Moscow, it's all going to be about those early rotation, those veteran plays that I like to say between those two phenomenal AR players.
Oh boy, you've set the stage well, stud. It is set to be a phenomenal hard point. Is it where we call it curtains? An Optic win the Moscow HP and send us toward a Game 5 search and destroy on raid. It all comes down to this, keeping in mind New York with the favorable spawns to start off Moscow. As it will be the side attack coming in from the ST out of the Chicago boys as they hope to try to grab some early seconds, and I have no idea how Mac has managed to find a kill, punch a player, and stay alive.
Yeah, for some reason he's just able to, you know, go in there and pick up an easy 2-piece. It's not really easy for a lot of people. But New York, they're going to have an early setup for this P1 hardpoint. They're getting all this time, and they're keeping those spawns for that P2. Optic right now, they have not got a single kill. I'm pretty sure no one on the side of... Oh, wait, as I say, Formal, he gets one. But he already has 2 kills. So, yeah, they get a couple kills. But New York, they just do such a great job at just holding down this setup off P1. That's going to give them about 40 seconds. Well, for this initial hard point, and you're still keeping the swan towards those P2. They need to have an answer, and hopefully they're able to break in towards this P2 hard point, or the lead can grow drastically for New York.
So the only negative for that P1, hold on. Player 7 Envoy just spawned toward Back Boulevard. Hold on, folks. Wait a moment. I was getting ready to call out, like, you know, how great of a P1 start that is, but this very well may have broken open this P2 as Envoy gets the spawn toward Upper Boulevard. And that does set up Chicago for a more defined pinch, as they now are fighting from the front. In from White, the New York submarine really based off of that play. You think that Chicago, that could be their breaking point, that could be their opportunity as they do spawn there. Despite that play, we're 2 hills deep, nearly that second one about to expire, and Optic have 3 points with that kill. Granted, they are going to walk away with the final 15 seconds to scrap, but it's going to be the push already now toward Fountain and New York. They're set up and established well.
今の日本の取り返し
I thought when Envoy got that spawn, it would lead to more time for Optic, especially not time going in favor of New York, but they break through the front, they get a 4 dead. They were able to get about at least 15 to 20 seconds off of that P2 hardpoint, and now they're fully set up for this P3. It's going to force Optic to try to hit through elbow, try to hit around the back, but the way New York is set up right now, everyone has a crossfire set up. Take down Envoy. 2 players are trying to push around the back, but Place is going to be able to take down Dashy. Here comes the challenge onto Hydra, which is going to be able to win it and eliminate the player out of the back. So now you're going to see Formal in the back just trying to play his life, take his time.
Timing.
And Scump and Dashy eventually going to set up the pinch, spawning a couple players from New York all the way out towards street side, and finally Optic get a break in and we'll be able to get this remaining junk time.
Considering the scoreline, the way that it was looking, a Scump sitting on a heater finally drops after 5 kills in a row, but nonetheless, now toward P4 is a great beginning out of the New York Subliners, looking to try to continue to dominate in the HPs, as now we'll step aside and listen in for our Astro listening on the New York Subliners.
Envoy at old elbow. There's only 2 on you guys. Only 2 on you guys. They're gonna spawn out. 1, 2 bank.
見ようと前ね。しっかりバスガートに行ってるもん。いや、ハイドラやば。
They're gonna spawn out P3 or P2.
マジでこいつやばいやん。
Deep behind the car, behind the car. I got him behind the car. You spawn here.
Yeah, still bank. I'm coming up mid. I'm coming up mid. I'm gonna pinch mid.
Okay, go. Flash zone, going to hill. On hill behind the car. Dead, get set. Pillar weak. Pillar weak, dead. He's on pillar still. He didn't go.
He's not moving. He's still on the pillar.
Pillar weak.
Don't touch pillar. I'm pitching it.
No,
left
pillar.
There's 2 of
them.
Play new. Envoy's gonna go new. Envoy's gonna be new here.
Envoy at old, weak.
I got me to a need.
You went right side. I got him. Rat and bust. Rat 1 shot. Going gold. 1 at bust. 1 at pillar. 1 at rat.
Envoy can go through white, bro. I'm looking for it.
I'm looking at the Dashy, one court. Behind the tree, behind our tree. Their tree side.
Got him.
And Dashy street.
Dashy's really weak on the street.
Dashy street.
Great bus.
I spawn P3, there's one behind us, I think. One's behind us.
Yeah.
Hey, top bank ready, Formal.
Yeah, I'm going green.
I'm trying to hold your cover. I'm trying to hold your cover.
SC, it's coming. He went long to their side.
I'm looking over back.
Green on me.
Okay.
I'll go
one side mid.
Two green, dip shit.
しっかり銅像が抑えてるのマジで偉すぎる。
I got them both, let's go! Hit hill!
うわやばクレイ。
I'm from court.
クレイナイスすぎ今の。
Under their back stairs.
Under back.
Oh, and I'm in the back side.
Okay.
I'm in the back.
エンボやばすぎやろ。
One long.
Are you guys playing for that? I'm
You
trying to
should
get
go
the
right.
flag.
Yeah.
Stay on the
top,
back.
police,
One back
one
up the
shot.
back. He's gonna go through like green closet or something.
I naded him.
I got my
One
phone.
top police.
I gotta say, Sted, I really do love the comms there, my man. Like, I feel like Clay's kind of leading the troops. You got everybody communicating well, and even Hydra, where a lot of people kind of, explain coming into this, like, how great is English going to be, like, how can he really kind of contribute to the communication. He's calling out as well. Just overall, a great effort there out of NYSL, despite what has been a nice little sequence brewing for Chicago. Again, they get into a few crucial gunfights, and they will now possess those P2 spawns, and this very well could be their gateway into bringing this series to a level heading. Never mind.
So the comms right there.
Never mind.
They were great. They were great, but just like that, New York, they didn't have the spawns for the initial P2, but they break right through the middle of the map, and now they flip it on its head. 30 seconds remaining. Time should go in their favor. As they're picking up a majority of these kills, I thought this was going to be Optic's way back into this game. They were able to do such a great hold on that P1 hardpoint and keep those spawns for P2 the entire time until the hills started popping. And then once that happens, New York, they were able to break in. Now they find themselves up by basically 60 points. Now Optic, they're going to be fully set up for this P3. You cannot die off this rotation and have a player spawn all the way across the map.
これ第3取られたらだいぶきついで。
They're going to start off with the initial time.
全部取らな。
You have 2 players from New York trying to push around street side, but Formo, he's able to take down 1. He's going to have a big engagement with Clayster, but unfortunately, he's going to drop there. So now you see New York starting to set up that pitch, starting to push around the backside. They know that Formo's going to be in the back, but do they know that Envoy is already out towards Bus? He's able to take down Clayster. He's eventually trying to set up the pinch. He's going to drop, but Formo holding the line in the backside. Optic are doing such a great hold to get back into this game. Formo currently on a 2 spree, just holding down those spawns for his team.
I mean, you said it coming into this series. It was going to be that AR battle, how important they can be. Locking down those spawns, locking down those setups.
オプティックはなんとかとりあえず
For a moment, it's Clayster as well. Gets the nice timing, but can't add on to it. The final 14 will belong to Optic Chicago as now we look toward the Boulevard. Dashi trying to get some early damage done. Toward that next HP as Optic look to go for the chain. Like I said, Optic with that last hill bring us now basically to a completely even game. Asim winning some nice fights, and it looks as if based off of those fights, New York will now allow for Optic to get the split spawn. Now we'll see how they look to try and handle this. One falls, Asim's going to give the call out now to Hydra. And really from a multitude of different angles, we got Asim now spawning out toward P2. Really just everybody in a number of different positions, just a matter of who can kind of maintain and control what is kind of an odd moment around the map. But as the dust begins to settle, it will be Optic yet again getting some good time and bringing themselves back into this hard point.
And Optic have the opportunity to take this lead. But as I say, that 3 players are going to drop, so the only player here is going to be Dashi. You just have to try to wait for your teammates to get here or just challenge on, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Take down Hydra. Place is still trying to hold the line and make sure they don't gain any more time.
てか LA どうなん？ヒュー変えてからやった試合。それによるな。まあでも俺の予想だと、まあまたフェイズとウルトラかな。フェイズ、ウルトラ、ニューヨークのこの3チームどれかのグランドファイナルやと思う。で LA がめっちゃ強かったら LA に来ると思う。
New York, they're keeping the spawns for those P2. And they're just growing such a lead, and you see what Optic is trying to do. They're trying to send 2 players from Street, 2 players from SEs. Whichever one that they open up with kills with, they're going to try to flip those spawns. But a lot of time is going in favor of New York. You cannot give this up with your Optic.
Nice gunfight win there from Formal. Again, lots of valuable time still at P1. As you called it, New York. Parking the bus, as we like to say here in HP, as Formal continues to dominate toward the front. New York, they are focused on those P2 spawns. Has been the story so far. It was New York on the first side, it was Optic on the second. Very, very close game, but what can be different? Optic Chicago. So here comes the plays. That's Scump and Formal, T2B, T2P combined for 2. Meanwhile, it's menaces set up throughout the map. Optic looks to force a few kind of now toward that boulevard position. Here comes the attempt to retake.
Yeah, so now the pinch is coming in. One player in Envoy is going to be hitting the front side, but Max trying to hold down the back. Envoy is going to be able to pinch the front, and just like that, they're able to get in. They're able to break that 200-point mark, and if they're able to hold this remaining time, they will have that lead, and it's going to force NYSL to focus up off that rotation. That's exactly what they're going to do. We're finally going to see a lead change. Optic have taken control of this game. Have brought this one all the way back. Now it's all about what kind of break can they set up for that P3 hard point. It's looking like they're going to have 3 players going towards Deep Street. And the way that New York are playing this, they might be a little too tight. One player does drop. He will spawn all the way across the map if he doesn't hold his kill cam, but that opportunity has completely went out the window. They're going to start with the initial time. Down 10 points. They hold this initial break right here from Optic. That second push is going to be so much more difficult. It's all about this.
Time game, play, Mac. They combine for 2.
Yeah, 3枚落ち。
Down from Optic Chicago as now they begin to realize where the
いや、ウォーマルも強いけど。
Formal finds a nice one, but
うわー、クレイ。
from the Yeskies, Clay finds one. Clay can't find the second. Meanwhile, it's plays being made on both sides of the map as the time continues to tick away. Optic fall, and it will be a victory for the New York Subliners. They hold it down over at Fountain and secure the series. Back and forth they went. But with this win, we've been given information that New York will confirm a winners bracket top 3 seed in this group. A huge win for the team and a big win for the birthday boy tomorrow. And Clay goes big, drops some major numbers. Now, this guy turns 29 tomorrow. Clay turns 29 tomorrow.
He's so old, and he's still doing this at such a high level. You gotta just tip the hat to the guy. The guy's just on point, man. I told you, the AR battles on that map number 4 is what it was all going to come down to. Clayster, he has a phenomenal game from start to finish, winning those rotation battles right off the rip. And then, obviously, Optic were able to get back into that game towards the second rotation of hard points. But when the setup needs to be there Placer is going to guide his teammates to what exactly they need to do. That's going to put them at 7-0 now.
キーさんどうもいいよ。皆さん GG ありがとうございます。というわけで、本日ね、2試合ですね。ロサンゼルスゲリラ VS ミネソタロッカー、そしてオプティックシカゴ VS ニューヨークサブランドですね。こちらの試合見終わりました。本日の、フリーファイル配信の日程は以上になります。イェーイ、お疲れ様です。見に来ていただいた皆様ありがとうございます。ご評価もありがとう。42ありがとうございます。いやー、マジで GG やったな。ニューヨーク爆発やったか。ハイドラがやばい、ほんまに。ハイドラやばすぎる。ビザの関係で来なかった間の代わりの AC がマジで。それな。かっこいいよな。クレイはね、この前29歳になったばっかだもんね。お、デニさんありがとう。最後にね、チャンネル登録と高評価よろしくお願いいたします。ということで。テニスさんお疲れ様でした。ありがとうございます。酒井さんもありがとうございます。ニューヨーク確かにね、めっちゃやっぱメンバー変更してから成長したね。最近フォーマルとエンボイの成績は悪い。あ、そうなんだ。フォーマルはちょっと安定してない感はあるよね。フォーマル強い時はめっちゃ強いけど、あんまり安定してないイメージある。まあ、俺は変えてもいいと思うけどな、フォーマル。なんとも言えんな、そこは。チームの兼ね合いもあるやろし。オプティックはやっぱブランド力を大事にしてるからね。フォーマルは手間出したくないだろうし。クラゲチャンネルさんもありがとうございます。お、カンシさんもお疲れ様でした。ありがとうございます。カンシさんね、メンバー登録ありがとうございます。カンシさんも仲間入りということで、ディスコード、あるじゃないですか。僕のディスコード入っていただいていると思うんですけども、新しくね、そのメンバーっていう多分役割を僕が割り振れると思うので、そしたらね、チャットが増えてると思うので、ここでね、また会話してもらってもいいですし、よいしょ。よろしくお願いします。ということで、デニさんもお疲れ様でした。ありがとうございます。さあ、皆さん見に来ていただいてありがとうございます。お疲れ様でした。本日はね、行って終わりました。また明日お会いしましょうということで、お疲れ様です。みんなありがとう。バイバイ。皆さんお疲れです。皆さんもお疲れです。じゃあね。